Hello, Central Gulf Coast. This is the redo of the video that we shot with John yesterday. You will not see that video because it was terrible. We were sitting right by some escalators, and it was reasonably quiet when we got there. But apparently, what I couldn't really hear was this perpetual squeaking. Like everybody who went to get on the escalator, there was a squeak of shoes, and it got to the point after listening to about the first 2 minutes that I knew we were just shot. So John is back with us again today. He is the rector at Good Shepherd in Mobile, and he is going to speak a little bit about his experience. The three questions we've been asking people, as you recall, are what's fed your soul, what has inspired you, and what do you want to bring back to the Central Gulf Coast. So we'll get started. John?
Okay. So what's fed my soul? I think part of that is all my classmates that I've seen here. And then hearing Christy. Christy's one of them as well, who's also from our diocese.
Christy Horde.
Christy Horde, right.
Yeah.
Right. So just having all of us, I think there maybe have been 20, 25 of us here.
That many?
Yeah. I mean, there was probably 10 from my class. But then from the time that I started until I ended, and classes before and after, it was, about 25, 30 of us.
And you didn't graduate that long ago?
No.
What year was it?
2013.
2013.
So, this is my second go around.
Yeah.
But, for me, we just got through during Easter and Lent. And we looked at the book of Acts. And so in the book of Acts, there's the First Jerusalem Council. And that's what I wrote down. That's what I wanted to say that I didn't get to say. Because in that Jerusalem Council about how do you become a Christian? How do you become a member of the way? Right? Do you have to go to a Jewish catechism? As the Judaizers were trying to get people to do. And so Paul, Barnabas, it stopped.
No, it's still recording.
Okay. That's good. They went and met with the first apostles. That's what we're doing here. And it's around some of the same kinds of issues. Who are God's children? How do we become Christians? Who are welcome? Who's not?
Yeah.
And we know that everybody's welcome, that all of us belong. And so that connection for me was really, this is my first general convention. So going back and thinking about that reason and that purpose as to why they met, and that we're still continuing within that tradition, was really, really powerful.
Good. What's inspired you the most?
The breadth and depth of the issues that we've been dealing with. It's hard sometimes to get our communities to understand when we talk about, so what we do on Sundays to prepare us for the things that we will encounter, the people we will touch, the people we'll meet during the week, and to see all of the work that's going on within our church. There are very few things that's not touched. And they're serious about it. They're putting money towards these programs. Climate change. Human trafficking. There's nothing that we're not really stepping up to try and make a difference, to help. And we may preach about these things, but then to be sitting in these sessions, these legislative sessions, or even back in the committees with the discussions, to see all the work that took place, I was really touched by that. There's no going back.
Good.
I don't know how many times you've been here, but
this is only my second.
It's once you've experienced this, you want more of it.
Some people do. Some people just, they're done.
Well, I know I'm not done. There's a lot that's excited me about what's going on.
Good.
And I wasn't on a committee, but I know next time around that where I would go, and it would probably be on the same committee that I was sitting in on, which was stewardship and social responsibility for investments.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those articles about Palestine came out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Climate change.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work. It's real intense, but I think it's going to pay dividends if we stick to it.
Good.
It'll help us.
Give me one thing that you would take back to the diocese.
That our church is doing the right thing. That we're intentional about who we are and what we do and why we do it. And whether people in our pews, we need to create opportunities. And I think maybe some of the streaming of the events may have helped that. But for me, it's the intentionality, looking at the prayer book, our liturgy, but also our music, and also the other issues that don't affect us necessarily, but affects the greater community, that we're not separating ourselves from the world.
Yeah.
We're overlaying what we do on the world, trying to live into that experience about who we've called to be and how we're supposed to minister and just carry this good news, this Jesus movement to the world. So I'm thankful for that and excited about it. That's what I'm going to carry back.
Good. I know y'all have to get back to the legislative session. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll see y'all soon, Central Gulf Coast. We are almost done. There's only one more legislative day after this. So we will be home soon. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon.
So I have moved to the other end of the couch. I'm sorry. You were about to pray, weren't you?
Pray with us.
You were going to pray. All right. Let's do that.
Gracious Lord, be with us in our speaking and our listening and our answering and our bringing to life this holy convocation that we've been attending for 2 weeks. Amen.
Amen. All right. So I have moved to the other side of the couch position, and I am casual again today because I am wearing a pink name tag. And the pink name tags mean that you are an alternate. Joe and I switched out this morning so that I could preach at the Eucharist where Diane Walters was installed as the president of the National Altar Guild Association. And Joe and her husband Jim have been out here. They've been kind enough to help us out a lot over the course of the last 2 weeks. And we're really grateful for them. And I'm really grateful that Joe is not only sitting in for me on the floor today, but also sitting here with me today to talk a little bit about what her experience at convention has been like. Joe, and if you'll remember, we've been asking people 3 questions. What's fed your soul? What's inspired you? And what is it that you want to bring back to the diocese?
The feeding of my soul always comes from worship,
Mm-hmm.
I think, generally, but more so here than even at home. More than your home church. To worship in inclusive language, to be there with people from everywhere. I mean, from, not even from our country, from Europe, from the central part of our country that is of North America that we don't generally get to interact with. It's been beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful. And it's, I wish we could actually start our days with it instead of sometimes in the middle of the day, sometimes at the end of the day. For me, it would be better at the beginning of the day, but maybe they'll do that again.
Well, now that is a change, because up until now, they used to do Eucharist at the beginning of the day. But what we found is that a lot of people would have committee meetings that would run over, and some people would miss Eucharist because they were still in committee meetings.
Right.
So that's a new thing, and I like it better at the beginning of the day too, but end of the day hasn't been bad.
But some people need to be fresh for their legislative sessions.
True.
Really.
True.
It depends on who you are.
Yeah,
and how you cope
we're
with
never
it.
going to fit everybody. That's part of the joy of having a gathering this big.
So you do it every kind of way that works with everybody and every language you can think of. What was haunting for me and beautiful was flute music and drums used in different manners for different services, and it was lovely. I mean, our Native Americans worship in a very different way than we, and we can benefit from that and learn from that and connect with our Lord that way, and it's wonderful.
Good.
So that's what really has fed me,
Good.
personally.
What's inspired
You know
you?
what else has fed me?
What's that?
Being with my colleagues. We've gathered for lunch every day. I don't know if anybody's mentioned that before.
We have not mentioned that.
But we have gathered, and it's not to talk about our own political version of how we think this piece should go or that piece should go. It was really just to share our experiences, and that has really been wonderful.
Good.
So there.
All right. So then the second question is, what has inspired you?
Inspiration for me comes from the Word,
Mhm.
but the living Word is in all of the people that are here. And I'm taken back to when I went to seminary here, and I'm taken back to when I was in school here. And I actually worshiped in the chapel at Seminary of the Southwest
Yeah.
on Sunday, and it was grand. I mean, the theology of that place, and I got to explain the theology of that place to a number of people there, and it was really inspiring to be able to go to the other side of that wall, to be able to reach the cross now. And it was very healing, because when you leave there, you haven't crossed over yet. And we have. And that's very inspiring to really grasp the reality of that particular place.
Yeah.
I wish that I personally would stop squealing every time I see people that I haven't seen in so long, whether it's classmates or people I've worshiped with or people I've served with in churches. To see those folks again is extraordinary. The first people we saw when we got to the floor was a gentleman who's a priest. His wife is a priest as well, and as you know, my husband's also a priest. And they now are in Williamsburg, and he is following her in her ministry. He was at St. David's here and did his 30 years, and it's not a terminal sort of sentence.
Right. Right.
And he is doing wonderful other things now. And he headed up the volunteers here, all the people in their orange shirts.
Good.
They're not orange. They are University of Texas
Burnt orange.
orange. And it was lovely to see those folks. They were great to us. They led us everywhere we needed to go and pointed us when we were lost. But to see him as the first person was extraordinary to me and inspiring, because we were lost after Katrina hit.
Yeah.
And we were lost for 22 months.
Yeah.
And he and his wife took us in those first 4 months while we were chaplains on that floor, the same floor where we were having convention. The last time we were there was for Katrina evacuees and to serve them as chaplains. And this man embraced us and wept, because we were agents of change for him,
Yeah.
for him and his wife.
Yeah.
And for him to share that, it was really inspiring, because they didn't take in strangers. We always did that.
Well,
But
and I
they
didn't
took
even-
us in.
I didn't even think about this. So the
Yes.
last time you were in Austin was when you were ministering in the conference center
Yes.
where we were meeting.
Exactly.
So this for you is an entirely different holy experience
It
than it is
is.
for the rest of us.
It really is. That was a holy convocation
Oh,
of
no.
a very different sort. And on day 5, Jim took our son back into New Orleans to, what he did was he took in medicines and
Yeah.
brought out the elderly. And I went north and Jim went south. And I went north to Austin and helped. It was the Austin Police Force. They have a great chaplaincy program, and they helped us start the chaplaincy program. So we could relate better, because we were also evacuees, and what we came to call ourselves was refugees, because we really were.
Yeah.
And they were too. So the last time I was actually on that floor was when I was ministering to my fellow refugees, if
Yeah.
you will, which was really awesome and really inspiring and really inside you. You know, it was
Yeah.
deep inside you.
No,
The
that's
change
a
was
that's a
amazing.
chill bump story.
Yeah,
That is.
it was good. It was really good.
We're going to talk more about that another time.
Okay,
You've
I've
got to
gotta
get back to the
I
floor.
do. I got to vote.
And you have one more question to answer, and that
Yes.
is, what do you want to bring back from this experience?
I want to bring back that making the laws and correcting the polity and reinstituting the polity of our church is messy. It's human. It's a human process. There was only one perfect person, so we're not going to get it perfectly, but we're trying. We're really trying. The two committees I sat in on were social justice in the country, in this country, and internationally, the other committee, and they were so passionate that it was hard for them to get it on paper. So it had to be amended and amended again and amended again, and that's messy. But making law, they always say, is making sausage, and it could be really unpleasant to have to participate and observe that. But what I'm taking away is it's a necessary process. It's very necessary, and it's humbling to know that we all are working and we're getting it right, and we're massaging it more and more as we correct ourselves and get it right and start going in the right stream. And it's I'm pleased that people do speak of our Lord Jesus Christ when they are talking about their amendment or their resolution. They don't do it every time.
No, but
this has
been a particularly grace-filled conversation.
Has it? Good.
It really has. The whole convention's been, and I wrote a little bit about that last night, the fact that I was on program budget and finance, which I can't stand doing budgets. Right. Even when I'm running the process at Nativity through my finance committee, I don't like it. This was a blessing, and I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful for you and for your time.
Thank you.
And you need to get back to the floor, and I need to edit this video and get it out to the diocese.
Editorial privileges convey. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. We will see y'all soon.
God bless y'all.
Thank you, Joe.
Bye.
Bye.